Howdy, and welcome to the Shgarrett Songwriting Challenge. In this YouTube series, I write songs with a variety of challenges that I draw at random from a box. After writing the songs, I have them tested with a panel of 3 judges that change from month to month, and they rate the song from 1 to 10 based on how listenable the music is. On the first day of next year, 2022, I will release all 12 songs in an album that will be listenable on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere, etc. So let's begin. For the big challenge, song about spontaneous human combustion. For the small challenge, number 1, theme and variations. Small challenge number 2, quotes bot corral. Small challenge number 3, uses Neapolitan 6s somewhere. And the extra challenge, bake and decorate a cake to go with the song. Sounds like I have my work cut out for me. Okay, so after some thinking, I decided I wanted to write my song specifically on the spontaneous human combustion of Mary Reeser. So, everybody sit back and relax, and welcome to Storytime with Shgarrett. Today we will be taking a crash course on the mysterious incineration of Mary Reeser. Let's jump in. July 1st, 1951 at 9 p.m. in St. Petersburg, Florida. Mary Reeser told her son, Dr. Richard Reeser, that she had taken 2 sleeping pills and was thinking about taking 2 more. She settles into her upholstered chair and smokes a cigarette. Her son leaves. The next morning at 8 a.m., landlady Pansy Carpenter visits the house to deliver a telegram. When she finds that the doorknob is too hot to touch, firemen are then called to the site. Inside, Mary had been completely cremated in her chair, except for some of her spine, her skull which had shrunk into the size of a teacup, and her left foot, seemingly untouched by the fire and still in its black silk slipper. The body would have had to burn at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 to 4 hours to be cremated like this. And yet, except for the chair, her apartment was relatively unaffected. The wax of nearby candles on the mantel had melted, but their wicks stood upright. A stack of newspapers in the room had not burned. The light switches had melted, but the outlets had not been damaged and were still functional. The FBI did not find traces of combustibles. There was no sign that Mary had tried to put the fire out. The detectives on the case received a tip from one of Mary's nearby neighbors that said, and I quote, "A ball of fire came through the open window and hit her. I seen it happen." The FBI's verdict attributed Mary Reeser's death to the wick effect. They believed that she had fallen asleep while smoking and had caught her nightgown on fire. Their report says, once a body starts to burn, there is enough fat and other inflammable substances to permit varying amounts of destruction to take place. Sometimes this destruction by burning will proceed to a degree which results in almost complete combustion of the body. Many other people believe that the FBI was wrong, and that Mary was a victim of spontaneous human combustion, which is when a living or recently deceased human body combusts without any apparent external source of ignition. There have been over 200 reported cases, and past scientists have claimed that alcohol consumption, old age, obesity, and pretty much bad genetics attribute to the likelihood of it happening. Most modern scientists say that the external source of ignition must have been overlooked when investigating the case. So let's talk about theme and variations. Theme and variations is a form, usually a classical music form. It consists of a main melody found at the beginning of the song called the theme, followed by short contrasting sections called variations that stylize the theme in different ways. Okay, so when I drew the theme and variations challenge, I was really excited because some of my favorite songs are theme and variations, like Leopard by Jack Stauber and The Greatest Man That Ever Lived by Weezer. But the more I got into it, the more I realized how difficult and time-consuming it is to write a theme and variations song that is any good. First off, I wanted to write each variation presenting a different theory of the mysterious death of Mary Reeser. And so every time I started a new variation, I would get mad writer's block. When normally, I only get writer's block like once. and the consistency of pop music forms pull me through the songwriting process rather easily. I also wanted to use different instrumentations for the different variations, which led me to making approximately 1 million tracks and 1 million different drum beats and kits, so I resorted to categorizing the variations by different emojis. Obviously. I decided to use the bot chorale I was supposed to quote as the last variation, but I kind of wrote everything topsy-turvy because the theme at the beginning is based on the bot chorale, so the bot chorale works as a variation. I wrote it backwards! Anyways, here's my theme. And here's the Bach. You'll get to hear the rest of it later. Oh, and the Neapolitan 6th chord was just a classical tritone sub thing thrown in, and it sounds like... Okay, so check this out. At the end, when I play the Bach chorale verbatim, I'm gonna make it sound like we're in church. I'm gonna record a ton of my voices layered on top of each other. I'm not gonna quite care so much about precision. I'm also gonna sing it in a way that I always hear people singing at church. Cinder woman, we pity you. There's always somebody who sounds like that. And I don't know why. You know, it's not a bad thing. Usually they sing very loud and they're in tune most of the time. You also have to get that pseudo opera soprano. And boy, you're dead, what you've been through. Always lots of that at church. Then I baked a cake. Welcome to another segment of Shgarrett in the kitchen, making food. Today you're gonna learn how to make burning body cake from a box. All you're gonna need to make the cake is your funfetti box, because what could be more fun than spontaneous human combustion? A half cup of oil, 1 cup of water, 3 whole eggs, confectioner's sugar, butter, vanilla, a little bit of milk, black food coloring, some graham crackers, some Oreos. Now you're going to want to get the leg on the cake. There we go. I don't think that Mary Reeser was a wrestler, but this will work. Now that you've seen the cake, let's hear the song.
Let me tell you the story of Mary Reeser who burned up. Yes, you should know what really happened that fateful night. So let's begin. What about her? Is there really that much to say? Mary Reeser, consumed by fire. She must have had some hell to pay. Mary Reeser, God must have smote her. Did she partake in the occult? Mary Reeser, physics has failed her. Her darkest secrets left untold. 67-year-old Mary Reeser kisses her son goodnight, settles down in her upholstered chair, pulls a cigarette out to light. Only God knows what had happened between then and the next day. She became the Cinder Woman when she burst into flames. Experts examined her ashes and her untouched dressed left foot, and they pondered at her shrunken skull that lay there upon the soot.
Busted. Yo, you caught us! Look about Mary Reeser, we like to say we're sorry, but the reason this old geezer didn't make it to Mars is cause we're aliens, way up from outer space, and the mission that we were sent on runs tests on the human race. That's right. And Mary, as it turns out, was our guinea pig for our prototype shrink ray. We send our apologies for what it did to her.
Early that morning, I seen it, a great ball of fire. I seen it, flew low down low through the open window. I seen it, and the fireball hit her, Mary Reeser. I seen it. 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 Cinder Woman left the door open when the devil walked in. And said, let's begin. It's hell on earth, and your paradise as you burn. And it's hell on earth, and all there is hurt. Oh, but the FBI wanted to cover it up, claimed it's a wick effect, and said that's good enough. Oh, but how could that even explain her teacup skull? Now in my expert opinion I present to you the only logical conclusion that we could come to is that maybe Mary Reeser burst in flames without an external source of ignition. We didn't start the fire, she was a self-igniter. What did she do to earn this fate?
I really liked it. Was it Mary Reeser? Is that the subject of our pontification? That's, oh my gosh. I'm kind of just like, the whole time I'm just thinking like, what? Wait, how could this happen? Like, it was hard for you to even get past just like that this is a historical occurrence in real life. I'm glad that there's a bard's tale about it, because that's what this feels like, you know? This is really like some sort of transcription of an ancient Greek epic and now modernized for our taste, you know? And the song, it was really cool, I thought. Theme and variations, I usually don't like in general, except whenever I'm kind of forced to listen to them. But this touched some things I like. I love chiptune. That was banging. The church one was, when you were first describing it, I was like, okay, I think you're totally right. about these are the exact personalities and like voices I hear in church. And then when it happened, I'm like, oh my God. Really touching, really transported me to exactly where I needed to be.
Right? There's always like a strange amount of nasaliness, but like so much confidence.
So much confidence. Yeah, that's
I
what
can
it
appreciate. Yeah.
And what were the other things? Oh yeah, I liked the theme in general too. I liked how it was just sort of it definitely sounded like a Bach chorale. Like it was just sort of that unendingness to it, how it just keeps going until it stops. Love that. I think you just nailed it, Garrett. I don't know what to say, but I think you nailed it on all parts.
Thank you. What would you give it 1 out of 10?
Oh. I kind of say, why is her head a teacup out of 10? Is that why I want to say the foot didn't get burned out of 10? Keeps you guessing, you know, just like the song, just like the event. For me, all marks 10, 10, 10, 10.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's the only perfect grade I've ever given.
So the first thing I just want to say, I absolutely love the creativity you put in this video. There were so many different genres of style and elements that I love to see. Like for me, I think the coolest thing was you went from like an 8-bit sound to this orchestral organist church type music. Now I'm going to go into things I thought maybe you could have done a little bit better. So the first thing I thought was that sometimes your 8-bit sounds or your electrical piano or synthetic instrumentation would sometimes cover you up. And it would make it so I couldn't really hear much of what you were saying. And especially in the part of the song where you were muffled, I felt that the instrumentation was lacking because of that muffledness. There wasn't much to sustain your voice alongside of it. Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but it was a cool effect. But I think maybe lightening up that muffled approach, I think would make that song that much better. The next thing is for the organ part. I thought that I couldn't honestly hear much of the inner parts over the bass of the organ. Again, that was really my only criticisms of your songs and just sections of the song. I just felt like maybe be careful when you get to that synthetic orchestration.
What would you give it out of 10?
I would give it an 8.
Cool.
And the sole reason I give it an 8 is I absolutely love the creativity behind it. I just felt like if we were to take those elements of trying to balance out the instrumentation alongside the song, it would make it even a 9 or a 10. But with that being said, with those elements being laid bare, I thought an 8 was appropriate.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello. I really want to compliment you on the effects of the video itself. How everything looked was amazing. I thought you did a really good job kind of getting your style across, and I really appreciated that. And I thought there was a lot of originality and humor in a lot of the videos, so that was really cool. And you were able to do a lot of different things, especially with backgrounds, that I thought was really impressive. So visually, kudos. With the music, I was especially blown away. The chiptune was really awesome, getting to hear the different variations and stuff within the chiptune, jumping to that organ sound, and then genre-wise, just you were all over the place, and I loved it. I loved seeing the different genres and stuff come out to kind of play and interact with each other using kind of some weird parameters. So that was really cool to get to see. Your cake, by the way, that was interesting. Very interesting.
My God. The cake affected me.
Yeah, me too. I gotta say, just the wrestler leg too. That was amazing. That was hilarious.
I loved how cursed it was.
See, the only thing I have to contend with the other judge here, who gave it an 8 out of 10. But you have to realize this is like a chopped challenge wrapped with a songwriting challenge, wrapped with a historical studies challenge.
Yeah, I'm grappling with the score too. It's hard.
It's 3 game shows at once.
Yeah, exactly.
And wow, incredible work, Garrett.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the buzzer went off and everything, it's really fun.
I guess the last thing I'd have to say is, especially with just the genre bending and how much effort you put into actually making everything follow what you wanted it to. I heard trace amounts of what could have been, some different styles of early death metal, stuff like that. It was really amazing to see in the earlier period, kind of incorporated some rap, some more pop stuff. And then you went back to that kind of church sound. And I really thought that was awesome. So if I had to give it a score, considering everything that was involved with it, I want to give it like an 8.5, just because everything was really good.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Can I revise my score actually? I hate to be like this, but in light of the other judges' score, I'm going to give you a 14 out of 10, and that averages out right to a 10.
That's fair.
Congratulations, Garrett, you did it.
Thank you. In conclusion, I scored an 8.8 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe if you'd like.